Hello, and thanks for joining us for this Spotlight Series segment, where we're going to be taking a look at security, incident response, and protecting your organization. I'm James Green, partner and VP for content at Actual Tech Media. And my guest today, Motti, is going to talk to us about Perception Point and their protection as a service offering. So I'm excited to dig in and learn more. I think it'll be interesting for you as well. Before we get started, Motti, would you please introduce yourself to the audience, tell us what you do at Perception Point, and then we'll start learning a little bit about the company.
Yeah, thanks, James. Thanks for having me. My name is Motti Elloul. I'm the VP of Customer Success and Incident Response for Perception Point. Been with the company for almost 4 years since the time that we had a product and started to offer it to our customers.
Great. And at the beginning, I mentioned protection as a service. Can you tell us a little bit about what Perception Point does?
Yes. So Perception Point is a prevention as a service company. What we are looking to do is to protect our customers from any content-based attacks on any channel that allows content into an organization. So obviously, email is one of the main channels to the organization, and we're protecting the email security. But then, other than that, there's all sort of collaboration channels like the Google Drive, OneDrive, SharePoint. There are CRM applications, instant messaging applications, support applications, and all those allows content to get into the organization from the outside. And we want to make sure that this content is clean and safe to use by the users in the organization.
Okay. So I was calling it protection as a service. I was messing it up. It's prevention as a service, which I like. So you mentioned a number of different channels, which I think is a really important part of the conversation because there are plenty of tools out there to protect against email-based attacks, both phishing and malware and that kind of thing. But anymore, there are lots of other potential attack vectors. And so, as they say, security is only as good as the weakest link. You could have the best email protection there is, but there's a bunch of other attack vectors too. Can you talk a little bit about the kind of comprehensive vector coverage that Perception Point provides?
Yeah. So what we did is that we've mapped all the different types of attacks that are coming to content, to the email and the other channels, if we're looking at from a high level, then we have the text-based attacks that it calls the BEC, business email compromise, mostly around impersonation and spoofing of domains to try and trick the users to think that the email is internal and someone inside is asking them for to run a task. So we're protecting these types of attacks with different algorithms. There are the phishing types of attacks for credential harvesting, and that's probably the most popular one that we're seeing. And you need all sort of different technology in order to protect these types, because every day there will be new types of phishing attacks that we'll see sent to the organizations that we're protecting. And then the third piece is the malware-based attacks, right? So files or URLs that will get a malware into the organization, and from that point, it's really up to the type of attack what's going to happen through this malware. So these are the main types of attacks that we want to protect against.
I know you've accomplished some pretty neat stuff engineering-wise that, besides the coverage, also allows you to do a more thorough look at everything you're looking at, meaning as you scan potential threats versus some of the kind of more legacy approaches to building heuristics to sort of shortcut that process. via some engineering feats that I'd love to hear about, you're basically scanning everything every time, which gives you a little bit a tighter boundary against potential risk because you're not letting things through based on some heuristic. It's always getting scanned. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, that's a very important point. So we decided that we're not making assumptions just based on reputations. We are scanning 100% of the content. We're looking at every file that will go to on the legacy solutions. They'll mostly use a sandbox solutions, and that can take minutes to complete a scan of a file. What we're doing is we're looking for an exploit technique in a file or URL that we're scanning, and we can do that in less than 30 seconds using a dynamic scan, which is a huge difference from any other solution, and that allows us to run those scans on all the files. So we're running, if you're looking at the complete stack, we're running image recognition algorithms on the on URLs. We're running our environment is looking at CPU level data on URLs and files, and we can do all that in less than 30 seconds, which allows us to scan 100% of the content.
That's really cool. Okay, one other thing I want to dig into a little bit. If I understand correctly, there's a high level of involvement from Perception Point staff in reviewing things that are identified as potentially malicious. And that comes with a number of benefits, both to the customer and to the long-term efficacy of the Perception Point solution. Tell us how that works.
Yeah. So we have our incident response service that comes as part of the solution. So it's not something that we're charging on top of our solution. Every customer is getting the service as part of the solution. And what we're doing on the incident response comes in basically looking at two ways to help our customers and protect them better with using this human layer. So the first thing that we're doing is we're looking at everything that our system marks as malicious. So we are reviewing our system, making sure that the performance of the system is always as expected. And when there are false positives, which is part of every solution, what we're going to do is we're going to release those false positives to end users, and we're going to make the necessary changes on our side. That reduces a lot of work on from our customers because they don't need to deal with that. They don't need to deal with complaints of users looking for emails, where they can still get maximum security from us. And then on the other side, we're always looking at new trends and where are the areas that maybe we need to improve. So it's a constant look at the threats out there to try and provide the best protection to our customers.
Because you all are taking such a close look at all of that regularly, I'm curious, do you have any thoughts or comments on big picture trends that you're seeing in the security landscape, or anything that you're noticing that's interesting because of the level of visibility you've got there?
Yeah. So what we have is, because we're protecting different channels and not just email, we're able to see the different types of attacks and how they come in on all these channels. So what we thought when we just started was that the email would probably be responsible for 85-90% of the attacks, where everything else, the last 10% will be relevant for come from the different channels. We actually found that it's more of 70-30. So we're seeing much more attacks coming from the different channels, and it's a growing trend that we're protecting and want to make sure that our customers are not exposed.
That's really interesting. Well, for anybody who's been watching and wants to learn some more, what would you recommend they do to get more familiar with Perception Point?
Yeah, so it's extremely easy to test us. We offer 30 days free trial with no commitment. It takes just a few minutes to connect to our system. So you can visit our site at perception-point.io and register to get a free trial, and we'll be happy to have you on the system and test us.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us to tell us a little bit more about Perception Point. It was a pleasure to chat with you. If you're watching today and you enjoyed learning more about Perception Point in just a couple of minutes here, and you want to see more Spotlight series videos like this, where we bring you up to speed in just a few minutes on interesting technology, head over to Actual Tech Media's YouTube page at youtube.com/actualtechmedia. And you'll find a Spotlight playlist there with lots of videos like this one. Motti, thanks again for joining us today. It was a pleasure to chat with you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.